Good morning everybody. I want to do another video. This is video number 24. This is the family escape to Egypt, and this is found in Matthew chapter 2 verse 13 to 18. Let me read it for you. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. And when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to Jeremy the prophet, saying, In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they are not, because they died. Now, in the history of the world, over 104 people have been designated the Great. Herod the Great was one of them. He lived about 74 BC to about 4 BC. It's from 74 BC to 4 BC, and he is also known as Herod the first king of Judea. He was a megalomaniac who killed and murdered his way into power, and was not shy in doing the worst possible crimes to further his own ambitions. He was also known for colossal building projects. He vastly expanded the temple, taking 42 years to complete the work, and he invented a way of moving stones that was up to 40 tons in weight. He also built a new port at Caesarea Maritima. He built fortresses at Herodium and Masada. Herod was born in Idumea, which was part of the nation or territory of Edom. These people were the sworn enemies of Israel, and one day the Lord will bring this nation to an end permanently and forever, and no one will ever live in that territory ever again. Herod had a very bad heritage. The Senate declared him king of the Jews, but he still had to enter Judea and conquer the land to claim his throne. Herod took a young woman as wife in spite of the fact that he was already married and had a son. Later he would murder them and most of his own family and large numbers of other people. Herod was careful to keep close relations with Caesar Augustus, and he remained a servant of Rome, even though he was a king. The Rome had an empire, and that empire meant that people could carry on being politically at the head of nations, but they had to pay tribute to Rome. It seems that he married 10 times to various women, and this drew resentment from the nation on top of his crushing taxation of the people to fund his huge building projects. He died, it seems, of chronic kidney failure and other very painful conditions, and he also seems to have displayed signs of depression and paranoia. It was this evil tyrant that the wise men came to visit, and it appears that on being disappointed in the fact that they did not return to tell him of the location of the new king, that he flew into a rage and brought about a genocide over a very large area surrounding and including Bethlehem. He never knew that it was all pointless, and that makes it even more tragic. The little family had slipped away in the night long before Herod had even hatched his plans. It seems that this was Herod's final moral test. He died very soon afterwards, within at least 2 years. The Romans divided his kingdom after his death into 4, dedicating it to his 3 sons. And this sad story is the clash of kings. Herod need not have worried so much. Later, Christ would point out to Pilate that his kingdom was not of this world, and that he was no rival to the king or to Rome. However, both Pilate and Herod were wrecked on the rocks of Jesus of Nazareth. The road that Joseph and Mary took with their little toddler was in the opposite direction to Herod and his hateful soldiers. Joseph had his dream in the night, and it was very dark in those days. Joseph got up and dressed immediately, and hurriedly dressed Mary and packed quickly for a quick exit. They didn't have much goods. They were very poor, but they did have the gold and the frankincense and the myrrh that the wise men had brought. And the wise men had long gone, and Herod still had not yet decided to commit infanticide on Bethlehem until Joseph was well on his way. Mary's full strength had returned, and the little boy would have enjoyed the adventure, and now Joseph is fully funded with 3 of the most expensive commodities that this world can give. They had previously been very poor indeed, and now they had the cash treasures to escape and live in a foreign land. They probably took the road south, which led to Hebron, about 15 miles away. It was a journey through the lower mountains of Judea. Back in Bethlehem, soldiers had arrived, and a massacre of all children under 2 years had begun. This gives us an indication as to the time gap between the birth of Christ and the arrival of the wise men. They passed through the road to Tekoa on the left and the town of Bethshura on the right. They probably didn't rest until they arrived at Hebron, the home of Elizabeth and Zacharias. It's also very likely they took a brief rest and then set out again on the south, descending all the time until after 20 miles they probably stayed overnight at Beersheba. They were well on their way to Egypt. After this exhausting journey, they were well into uninhabited wilderness that would lead to Egypt. It was probably 2 days before the road turned west, heading for Egypt itself. Another 2 or 3 days would have seen them entering the coastal cities of Egypt. No one knows where they stayed in Egypt, but the cash goods that they took with them would probably enable them to get good lodgings. We do not know how long they stayed in Egypt. It probably was about 18 months or more until the death of Herod. So isn't this remarkable how that they were able to make this midnight escape? Nobody even knew they'd gone. Nobody had any idea where they'd gone. It was very dark at night, and their escape was perfect. Well, we look forward to catching up with you on our next episode, and we wish you every blessing. God bless you. Bye for now.